Yeah, that's a problem. We're gonna see what we can do about this. So today we're gonna look at a emergency tire change on a, I think it's a 2021 Jeep Cherokee, late model Jeep Cherokee. And so the first thing you're going to know is that your spare tire, it's under the trunk panel here in the cubby hole. And there should be, you know, obviously your donut tire, a jack, a bracket that holds it down in there, screw, and fancy high-tech expensive tire iron. Something I would recommend if you've never done this before, I would actually recommend you do it anyway, if it's a vehicle you haven't done it with before, is to check your owner's manual. 2020, I'm sorry. So check your owner's manual, and in there should be an in case of emergency section. There should be an in case of emergency section with tire changing instructions. The reason that I'm pointing out the tire changing instructions in the manual is because it shows you where the lift points are if you have to use the factory jack, because there's a very good chance that the factory jack is only going to reach high enough to get the tires off the ground if you put it in the right spot. They don't give you anything extra to work with usually. Another thing I would recommend doing is taking your spare tire and checking it once or twice a year, because this one here, it's supposed to be at 60 pounds, it's at 30. So I'm gonna adjust that and then we'll reconvene on the tire change. Fortunately, this happened where we have access to an air compressor and some tools and stuff. And that's pretty stinking close. Now, just in case you're actually sitting alongside the road watching this, I'm going to be kind of thorough for you here. I already looked at the owner's manual, and here's why I'm pointing out the jack, finding the factory jacking points. You see these little notches right here? Okay, this sits in a hole right up in here. This, a lip sits in that, a welded lip. They call it a pinch weld. So your pinch weld sits in this. This sits in a factory designated hole. I'm not going to say that it's super stable and secure, but with this type of jack, your most stable and secure point is likely going to be the factory designated spot, which, like I said, is right here. Let's see if I can get a shot of it. Right there. Now, once you have it set up in the hole where it's supposed to be, and you're pretty confident that it's secure where it's supposed to be, check it, double check it, triple check it. You don't want the car falling on you. Use the thumb screw, get it up snug. Take your factory thingamajig, and you can use that to run it up. Yes, they're a pain in the butt. It just kind of is what it is. Be grateful they gave you some tools to work on it with. Or carry your own tools around with you. Always remember to loosen your lug nuts slightly before jacking all the weight off of the tire. Factory lift point is going to give me the best reach most of the time. There's probably exceptions, but I need to be able to spin this to know that I have plenty of clearance. Yeah. There's a little air in there, but ain't none of it pressurized. When reinstalling lug nuts, always go in a crossways pattern. So we'll go here, and then because it's a 5 lug, we'll put one here, skip one, put one here, maybe. We'll put that one somewhere else. Skip one, put one there. Skip one, put one there, skip one. Now, if it were 6, we would skip 2. But on a 5 lug, and 4 lugs the same way. Try to put them across from each other. Now, the way I just put them in, that doesn't matter. We're going to tighten them down in that fashion. Okay. And I always go just snug, because I use a torque wrench. But if you don't have a torque wrench, just, you know, nice and tight, a little tighter than that, probably something like that, maybe a little more. I do recommend, if you're running one of these kind of tires, if this is your spare, if you're not running a true spare like this, a normal size spare but running a donut, get this tire to the tire shop as soon as possible, because you don't want to run this for any period of time. Also, these are usually speed limited. They will usually say on them not to go over like 55 or something like that. Skip one. And the reason we go crossways is so that the tire goes on as straight as possible. We don't want to go down the road going like this. It's not a huge concern with modern tires and the way they're tapered and centered and all that, but it doesn't hurt anything either. Now we'll lower it down and we'll put some weight on the tire so that we can torque it to a safe tightness. And the torque spec should be listed in the owner's manual, but if it is not, it should be readily available in a phone call to your dealership, local service tire shop, and probably on Google. The appropriate lug nut torque. I looked it up, and for a 2020 Jeep Cherokee, it calls for 100 foot-pounds. If you can see that, but I'm set at 100. Make sure it's properly seated, and simply from the handle, you don't want to up here, you don't want to put a bar on this, just otherwise it might not read correctly. Till it clicks. There we go. And we'll do that in a crossways fashion until they're all tight. As a little bonus, we're going to try and figure out where the leak was in this tire. I think I already know where it is. I just saw it. I think it's right there. But we're going to find out for sure. Plus, I mean, who doesn't want to watch this go back to its original shape? We aren't going to get too crazy. We're just going to put enough air in it so that we can find a leak. So we're up, I don't know, we're about 20 pounds or so. And here's how you check to find the leak. This is where I think it is, right? So I made a solution of dish soap and water in a spray bottle. Look at that. There she is. There she is. Sure, it's funny looking, but it'll get her to the tire shop.